Yo, what is up, guys? It's Pedro here with another Washington Commanders weekly stream, the first one of the offseason. Unfortunately, not doing a playoff preview for this weekend and back into the offseason, first week of the offseason, and we're back. But glad to have my guy Abdullah from DMV Sports Zone back on the channel, fellow Hokie. Of course, like usual, make sure you guys subscribe to DMV Sports Zone. Great Commanders, YouTubers, but also they do other stuff as well, with DMV Sports. So make sure you guys sub them up. And yeah, man, how you doing?
Doing good, man. Doing good. Like you said, it's kind of rough because, no playoff preview, but now we just root for the downfall of the rest of the division because they're in the playoffs.
Yeah, for sure. So in today's stream, it is off season, so we can't talk about actually, playing. Maybe at the end we'll talk a little bit about some of the playoff matchups this week. But the big news of this week, obviously, is Washington Commanders offensive coordinator Scott Turner being fired. So we'll talk a little bit about that, but most of the stream is going to be about who will be the offensive coordinator for the Washington Commanders. We'll give some options about who we want the coordinator to be and who we think he will be. And then after that, some other coaching changes that can be made. So first off, Abdullah, thoughts on Scott Turner being let go, and if you agreed with the move?
No, I didn't agree with that. Actually, of course I do. That guy was terrible. Scott Turner was the worst offensive coordinator, a bottom 3 offensive coordinator in this league, and I'm very much happy he's gone. It's been something that we've been calling for so long, and maybe scheme wise he was decent, but the play calling, critical moments, it just really wasn't there. Abandoning the run when the run game was going, not giving it to Brian Robinson. 4th and 1 questionable calls, like the jet sweep to tight ends, and Curtis Samuel was clearly not working, trying to get cute at the wrong time. I just it genuinely I'm so happy. It's shocking because we gave him an extension too. So we all know his father, great coordinator, but he just really isn't any good. And it sucks because literally, I don't know how we add Jahan Dotson, we get an upgrade at QB as we thought, and we average less points this year compared to last year. It's just inexcusable. And the weapons that we have, we should be generating more points per game. It shouldn't be a bottom 10 offense in this league. And it's about time. I'm happy he's gone. Although I will say that I want everyone gone. I'm just happy at least Scott's the first one to be gone.
Yeah, I agree. Happy Scott Turner. I mean, obviously, you have to always preface with blah blah blah. It sucks that he loses his job, but honestly, yeah, it does because I'm sure he loved doing his job. But he's gonna get at least some job in the NFL because of his name, and because some people do think he is a good play caller, but it's just he's made a lot of money already. He comes from a lot of money. He's gonna be fine. He is gonna be fine. And let's add some people in the chat. We got 37 people in here, only a couple comments. So go ahead and comment up. What's up, Noah Washington? 1010 gang highlights. What's up, Mike Chester? So yeah, so obviously, it's unfortunate to lose his job for him, but for everyone else, it's good news. He needed to be gone. The offense, honestly, I didn't even think he was that bad his first couple years here, considering the weapons he had. Because really, think about it, the offense got worse from last year to this year, and you added Jahan Dotson, Brian Robinson. You had you didn't have Curtis Samuel really last year. You had Curtis Samuel this year. You had even though Logan Thomas didn't play well, you had better tight ends this year than last year because Ricky Seals-Jones was your tight end 1 last year, and he was hurt. He still had a lot of offensive line injuries last year. It's just inexcusable for him to regress this year with the offense. I thought his situational play calling was worse, and it was just time to go for him to be gone. It did not work here. The players, especially once the players started turning on him, you knew it was over. 10+ players kind of anonymously went off on him, but kind of bashed him a little bit. And then you had some guys on the record, not necessarily directly saying he sucks, but Logan Thomas, Taylor Heineke, Brian Robinson, even Terry McLaurin a little bit.
I
All
think
those guys
Logan
subtly did.
Thomas's wife too.
Yeah, Logan Thomas's wife did, and Terry liked to tweet kind of bashing Scott Turner. He after like shortly after unliked it, but still like it just yeah, he needed to be gone, and I'm happy that Ron was able to, Ron had the balls to do it because he's very, very loyal to his people. So happy, they're going to get a new guy there. Defensive coordinator, I'm fine with Jack Del Rio. I think he did a really good job. I think they're like number 4 in overall in yards per game, which is insane considering how they started and how many injuries they had down the stretch. Like, imagine if like Curl, St. Juice and Allen didn't get hurt those last few games, like I bet you they would have been like 1 or 2 higher because that 49ers game, like it still would have been higher scoring, but like having Curl out hurt them so much because Kittle had 120 yards and 2 touchdowns in that game. Like it was bad, but yeah, I'm fine with Del Rio. Rivera, obviously, like I would move on from him, but I understand why they won't move on from him. And whatever, it's fine. You get a new offensive coordinator, you keep Rivera, and then you keep Jack Del Rio and maybe a new offensive staff besides like new offensive assistants and stuff. You run it back with the new owner probably maybe in like March, April, hopefully, and then you see how it goes, and you let the owner evaluate things at the end of next season and see where we go from there. But that's kind of my thoughts and everything. Like, obviously, I think a lot of the fan base doesn't want Rivera to stay here, but I think we've all accepted the fact that probably is going to stay here. And honestly, I can live with Rivera for another year. At least he got rid of Scott Turner, and we know better days are ahead in terms of Snyder being gone, which means Rivera might be gone in a year.
Yeah, I think and this brings up a positive point. If Snyder was not selling the team, he would have definitely cleaned house and like fire everybody. But this does give me hope that hey, new ownership, let's evaluate Ron, Jack. This probably is their last year, and then we look at a different route the year after. So again, obviously we're happy that Scott's gone. I don't mind Jack Del Rio at all. I think he's the best out of the 3, to be honest. And then Ron, he's a leader amongst men, but the questionable like decisions, benching Taylor Heineke for Carson Wentz, not knowing when to use timeouts properly, and just like the basic things, even in the front office, like losing key guys like Brandon Scherf, DeAndre Carter, Eric Flowers for like some old like bums, not bums, but old heads like Andrew Norwell and Trey Turner. It's just stuff like that is questionable, but you give him 1 year and we'll see what happens with new ownership.
Yeah, let's answer some questions. What's up, Cypher XD? He says, did Kingsbury make the play calls in Arizona? Oh, sorry, dropped my phone. I'm assuming he did. I mean, he's an offensive guru, and anytime those guys are offensive gurus, they're gonna call the plays. Cypher says, I don't want Reich because then Carson stays. I doubt Carson stays really in any scenario unless like he's willing to take a pay cut to like $3 million from 28 million. Like, I don't think he's gonna stay. I would say there's probably like I don't know, like a 4% chance Carson Wentz is back, and that's my thought. Mike Chester says we need to trade Chase Young while his name is still big. 1, he's not that good. 2, we can't really afford him. 3, we need more O line, not more D line. The thing is, what I would say is I don't know how high. Like, you could still obviously get assets for Chase Young right now, but I don't know how high his value is right now, just because he's coming off the injury, and he played, but like he was good for a game, but like he didn't. It's not like he like popped off. Like, he's coming off the injury. It was expected that in those first few games back, even like first half season back, he wasn't going to be like fully back. So I honestly, I would keep Chase Young, see what he can do next year. But like next year, like it's put up or shut up for Chase Young. Like, he has been underwhelming. There's like, I'm sorry if you're Chase Young's biggest fan, like you can't deny like he has been underwhelming. Rookie year, I wouldn't say he over exceeded expectations, but he met the expectations. 7.5 sacks, but I think he played better than that. Like 4 forced fumbles and 1 defensive rookie of the year. That's a great rookie year, but that was what was expected out of him. Honestly, most people projected 10, 11, 12 sacks, but still, I think everyone was happy with Chase Young's rookie year. Second year, first half until he got hurt was awful. I mean, like I'm not saying he was awful, but in terms of what our expectations were for him and what he produced, very, very, very underwhelming. And then and then has the ACL and whatever the patellar tendon. Who knows what else happened if he had any setbacks? And I'm not saying this year was like disappointing. I mean, it was disappointing in the sense that he really didn't get that many games, but second overall pick, like you're expecting, like that's supposed to be a face of your franchise changing player. Like you have the chance to take Herbert and other guys. So this year is huge for him. Like I think he has the tools, but like he needs to go off this year. I don't want like any excuses. He's had not only did he play a few games to finish off the year to get him some film of himself coming off the ACL injury, getting him more comfortable, but he's gonna have a full off season. So zero. Chase Young gets zero excuses next year. He gets zero excuses. And he has to ball out like 10 plus sacks, man. Like it just has to happen. Like number 2 overall pick, like we can't get these excuses about okay, he's getting double teamed, he's getting chipped. Like that was the excuses in his second year. The elite players, you telling me Micah Parsons isn't getting double teamed? Are you telling me that Nick Bosa isn't getting double teamed? They are. But they're game-changing elite players, and it doesn't matter that they're double teamed. They still produce. So that's what Chase Young needs to do next year. He needs to have a big year. Still don't think we should trade him. Maybe, and this might be unpopular, but I would try to get Deron Payne done, right? That's not unpopular. I would try to get that done. Let's say you get it done. I would consider trading Montez Sweat just because I do think you're right. And we're getting a little off topic here, talking about D-line. We'll come back to offensive coordinator in a bit, but I think this is a good topic. It's going to be very hard to pay, let's say Jonathan Allen 18.5 is what he's making. Deron Payne 20 plus mil, I think minimum is what he's going to be making. And then Montez Sweat, like it's going to be a lot. It's going to be a lot for an edge rusher, young phenom, like not phenom, but like super athletic, really high talent, didn't go top 10 because of his medical issues. So I think it's going to be very hard to pay him and then Chase Young if Chase Young meets expectations. So I don't know. I think it's something to consider. Like I wouldn't necessarily like openly be like we're trading him, but if you get some good offers, you get because if you can get like a first round pick or something like that, and maybe with that pick you can trade up for a QB. Hey, I would just consider it. Montez Sweat's been good for sure. I still don't know if he's an elite pass rusher because he's not. He's a good pass rusher, but elite pass rushers finish. Elite pass rushers get those sacks at the end. And I think Montez Sweat had 8 sacks. There was so many more opportunities for him. He had so many times where it was just a little bit too late. Still a very good player. I would love for him to be on the team, but if I had to choose one guy, one odd man out, it would probably be him. But Chase doesn't have a good year next year. Like, I don't know. It could be him. So you're I know I said a lot of different things, but your thoughts on that?
Yeah, no, I agree with you on that part. Like Montez, again, we traded for him back in the first round, and he just really we want him to take that next step, but he really didn't do that this year, especially with Chase out. And it's just even when I saw during the Cowboys game, there were so many plays where he's so close to Dak and he just misses him, and it is frustrating. But if we do trade him, obviously I wouldn't be I wouldn't hate it. But if Chase doesn't perform to that second overall pick that we drafted him at, then it would be something to worry about. And going back to Chase, yeah, I mean, I have the man's jersey, big fan, but at the end of the day, yes, he only played a few games, and there was some good plays out there. He showed some flashes, but if he doesn't perform at an elite level next year, then obviously it's bust territory. And even another content creator on the DMV Sports Zone channel, Noah, even said that, and he said this a year ago, that Chase Young is going towards that Jadeveon Clowney territory, which it hurts so much to say because he's the guy. He's DMV kid, Gonzaga, went to Ohio State, so it hurts. But again, it's just if you don't perform, this is what's going to happen. And it's also more frustrating when the whole NFC East has a guy, Cowboys have Micah Parsons, the Giants, Aziz Ojolari, Kayvon Thibodeau, and the Eagles. I mean, everyone, Hassan Reddick, Josh Sweat, Fletcher Cox, all those. The defensive line is crazy, and we drafted you second overall pick for a reason. It's supposed to be a generational talent, and with fully healthy offseason, there shouldn't be any excuses at all.
Yeah, totally agree. Let's hi to some people in the chat. What's up, Young OG? What's up, DeAndre Taylor, my guy? Says Chase be getting stood up at the line of scrimmage every play if he doesn't win off his first rep. And like you're just doing the same thing every single time, going out there, really no moves. But I'm excited to see a full offseason with Kerrigan and stuff. So we got my guy Juan in here. Let me add him to the stream. How you doing, Juan?
What's going on, fellas? How you doing?
Pretty good, pretty good. Let me just switch the layout here. There we go. So, kind of talking about, I mean, we're gonna get an offensive coordinator in a second, but and of course, like usual, make sure you guys subscribe to both of these guys. Juan Gotti Talking Sports just hit 5K recently. Congrats on that, of course. And Great Commanders YouTuber been posting a ton of videos. Make sure you guys sub up to him. And of course, Abdullah from DMV Sports Zone. Make sure to subscribe to him as well. Both the links will be put in the chat in a second. So, Juan, we're just talking about Chase Young and just how, like, honestly, those last 3 games, I didn't really care how he played as long as he was playing and getting those reps. Like, he did some good things. He did some not so good things, but overall, good to see him back in the field. But next year, like, no excuses at all. Number 2 overall pick. First year, he had a good year. It didn't exceed or be below our expectations. He met our expectations. Defensive Rookie of the Year, 7.5 sacks, 4 forced fumbles. Second year, underwhelming. This year, underwhelming, but that's because of the injury. So next year, number 2 overall pick, like, he's got to ball out. What do you think about that?
Yeah, I mean, I'm not gonna lie to you. I definitely was watching Chase, and yeah, I was preaching temper your expectations. You know, don't expect much from him. He's gonna have 3 games, so don't expect much from Chase Young. This obviously when he comes back, and that's truly how I feel. But at the same time, and I kind of was on both sides with this. I'm like, I can't expect him to do much because he's just coming back. But at the same time, he still looked the same prior to the injury. Okay, he still was just using the same bull rush. He didn't have no kind of move. And again, I gotta chill because I wasn't expecting him to do cuts or spins or anything. But it was still kind of like, come on, Chase, bro, you didn't learn. I understand you were dealing with the torn ACL and you couldn't really work out or learn new moves, but as a fan, it was kind of like it still looks the same. But at the same time, I wasn't bashing the guy because I understand he was just coming back from ACL, and I couldn't expect too much from him. But I'll be lying to you if I didn't sit up here and tell you the truth. When I was watching the guy, it just looked the same like he did prior to with a knee injury. So hopefully next year it can look way different, and he can finally live up to the number 2 overall pick. But if not, a lot of people don't want to say it, but if he doesn't do anything next year or live up to the expectations of the number 2 overall pick, you might have to just accept that Chase Young is just not what we thought he was going to be coming out of Ohio State.
Yeah, it's unfortunate too because like a lot of guys in that draft that we could have gotten, Tua, but Tua still. I mean, I think Tua's good, but still don't regret not taking Tua. What's up, tougher guy? We can always draft another edge early in a year or 2. I'm not too pressed for Chase to be generational. I mean, he doesn't have to be generational, but I need I need a Pro Bowl player. Like I need a guy that is a Pro Bowl player. Like he's not even on like Montez Sweat isn't even a Pro Bowl player, and Chase isn't on his level. Like he's not. He hasn't been as good as Montez. So he needs to be above what Montez was this year, which Montez was a very solid. He was a good player this year for us. He wasn't great though, and that's fine. We didn't necessarily expect Montez to be amazing, but would have been nice if he was. But your guys' thoughts on, and we'll start with Abdullah and then Juan, like the idea of, okay, you probably can't keep all 4. So who's the odd man out if you can't keep 4, and how would you go about doing that? So Abdul, let's start with you.
I think you said it. It has to be Montez Sweat, just for the fact that we put so much capital into Chase, and we're still see. I feel like we know as a fan base, even the front office knows that Chase has a higher ceiling than Montez, because we've seen Montez's ceiling. It's like, okay, but we haven't seen him make that next jump. So if the odd man out, my opinion is Montez.
Well, with me, because I kind of don't. I hope I'm wrong, but I don't feel like Deron Payne wants to resign here. Like, obviously, I know we want him, fans. We want him back. The front office want him back. But at the end of the day, it's his decision. He's a free agent, and when you listen to the way he talks in his press conference, and people were trying to say, "Hey, Juan, that's how he talks," and I understand that. But just like my opinion and how I was feeling, I just don't get the vibe that he wants to come back here. Like, obviously, you saw Terry, John Allen, those guys, when a player wants to be back with the organization that drafts them, they make it clear, right? Cole Holcomb made it clear he wants to be back here. I don't know about you guys, but I don't get that sense from Deron Payne that he's just dying where he wants to be back here. Like obviously, deep down inside he may want to, but just not saying nothing about it. Like these reporters, they asked him, like, not directly, do you want to be back in Washington, but they basically asked him about his future, and just a simple like, hey, yeah, this is the team that drafted me. I would love to be back here, but if not, I know how this is a business. So if not, then I'm definitely I definitely know what it is. If he at least said something like along those lines of, yeah, I want to be back, I'll feel comfortable. But the fact that anytime he's asked about his future here, he kind of dances around the question, and he kind of doesn't make a point to that he wants to be back here. I could definitely be overthinking, and he could definitely be back here with the contract extension. But right now, I just don't get that sense of urgency or not that feeling that he wants to be back here. However, if it was up to me, out of the 4 guys, that's tough because, yeah, Chase hasn't really done much. But he does have a better ceiling than Montez Sweat, but at least Montez Sweat is producing, you know? I kind of feel like that would be crazy to let go of Chase Young. However, I don't know, because it's like I love Chase, man, and I know he's obviously the best player, the better as far as long term. He has a much more upside, but at least Tez is producing. Like, he had 8 sacks this year. Like, he's producing. I'm not sure. I'm gonna say Montez is the guy that I would get rid of, but I feel like I'll be making a mistake if I do that. I feel like Chase Young. I really want to go with Chase Young or the odd man out. However, I understand that we spent a number 2 overall pick on this guy. But when you have a D line that you have and you have to invest so much into it, somebody's gonna be the odd man out. And I feel like me saying Montez Sweat is a mistake, but I definitely see why you guys don't want to give up on Chase, because obviously he has much more upside and we spent a number 2 overall pick on him. But I'm gonna say Montez for the sake of this stream, but I feel like I'm making a mistake. I feel like Chase Young is the guy that you should let go of.
No, it's tough. And let me see, my guy, one of my friends has a baseball channel. Make sure you guys check it out, Around the Globe Baseball. Go ahead and check it out. Doing some interviews with some cool players. Go ahead and check that out. And of course, check out Juan and Abdul's stream or channels. Links are in the chat. But I low-key feel you when you're talking about the Deron Payne situation. Like, he doesn't – it could just be the way he is, but I don't really – I kind of see what you're saying, where it's like he doesn't seem like a guy's like who's like enthusiastic about being here. And I think Deron Payne will go wherever he gets the most money. I honestly, like, I'm not trying to call him a bag chaser. That probably is what he is. And honestly, there's nothing wrong with that. Like, he's in the NFL. He should be doing what he can to provide for himself and his family. Like, I just knew he would have his best year of his career this year, because I'm like, okay, I know Deron Payne is like that in terms of, like, he wants that money. And this year I was saying, like, he's going to have the best year of his career by far. did not think it was going to be 11 and a half sacks, but he had a great year. And yeah, I mean, we'll see if he stays or not. I think at minimum you franchise tag him, right? You franchise tag him so that if he doesn't want to stay, you trade him and you can get a second and a third, or maybe even a first. I doubt a first, but like I think I heard from John Keim on a podcast this like he said it this year, but he was saying that a team offered a second last year. So if a team offered a second last year, this year Montez has Daron Payne has tripled his sacks pretty much from last year. So like the price is going up. So I could see getting like a second and a third, or like even a first for a player of Daron Payne's caliber. It would just be like, okay, can they get that deal worked out in terms of Daron Payne agreeing to a contract with another team? What's up, Jairus? I know, man. I got to get you on sometime. When I'm trying at some point this offseason to do a big round table with like 8+ guys, and then I'll try to get you on there for sure. And honestly, no, go ahead.
Now I was gonna say, can I say based on the? I honestly get the vibe from Payne. Like I said it in my video, that like I get the vibe that he's gonna go the Brandon Sheriff route, because I don't think our guys, Ron Rivera, the front, I don't think we're smart enough to tag and trade. Like we don't seem like the kind of organization to do something like that. So I think what Daron Payne may do in the best interest of him being a back chaser, which again, like you said, it's nothing wrong with that. Guys have goals when they get to the NFL. Some guys want to win championships. Some guys want to collect as much money as possible, and it's nothing wrong with that, right? You worked your tail off to get in a position to do that. So it's nothing wrong with if Daron Payne's only goal is to make money. Nothing wrong with that at all. So I kind of get the vibe that he is going to play. He's going to get franchise tag this year, right? He's going to play on the franchise tag. He's going to milk us for the franchise tag. We're not going to do it again. We're not going to do the Brandon Sheriff route and do it twice. He's going to milk us for the franchise tag this year, and then leave, and then have another great year, and then leave next year, and then get a 4-year, $84 million deal. And he's going to milk us. That's the kind of vibe that I get if he stays. You know, if not, I don't know, because look, we have until like March to tag him, right? To at least tag
early
him,
March.
and then we have until like July to work a long-term contract out. I think we're gonna tag him. Probably he's gonna play on that tag, and the next year he's gonna walk. I don't know, because I don't get the vibe that he wants to be here, and I don't think our front office is smart enough to tag and trade him. Like we don't have those kind of brains in the front office. So I feel like that is probably he's gonna milk us for as much money as he possibly can, and we're gonna fall for it yet again. So
yeah, I think also like the fact that like we drafted Fedarian Mathis, front office is gonna be like, okay, if Ron Payne can do this, we'll just plug in another Alabama guy. We don't need Daron Payne. So again, it's frustrating, but like again, we just haven't like we've said it in the past, like, okay, tag this guy, we'll trade him. Tag this guy, we haven't done that. So I wouldn't be surprised if Daron Payne just goes somewhere else too.
Yeah. And real quick, Bloodshot Sports, appreciate the $5 donation. Says, how do you feel about Sam Howell? So I think we can all give our answers here. Again, appreciate the donation, and make sure you guys subscribe to Bloodshot Sports. But for me, I see some things in Sam Howell, but like I'm not going to be like he's our franchise guy, because I think that's ludicrous to say. Like he's played one game where I think Juan agreed with me, like just terribly managed game by Rivera. Like and Scott Turner, like, yes, I agree. Like you want to try to make things simple for him, but like it doesn't really matter. Like get Sam Howell. As I went on a like huge rant after the Cowboys game, because I was like, okay, this game was all about developing Sam Howell, and you gave him 19 pass attempts in the whole game. And the whole fourth quarter, you just ran the ball, even when you're up by like 14, and there's no way the Cowboys come back, and you run the ball, give them no reps. On 4th and 5, 4th and 6, 4th and 3, you kick a field goal with Joey Sly when it's like, okay, why not go for it on 4th down? And just there's nothing to lose there. Like, okay, you lose the game. Well, who cares? You gain some draft picks, or you gain some draft slots. If you win, great. You won against the Cowboys and you finish the season off strong. Just like I didn't understand. I hated the way they played that, but I like Hal. I think he's got some potential if you develop him properly, maybe he can be like a slightly below average to average starter, and that's much better than we've had in the past. And I'm fine going into the season with Howell and Heineke. Like, is that the ideal scenario? No, 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 and no, not at all. But I'll take that over paying Jimmy G $33 million or trading for Derek Carr and stuff like that. So that's kind of my take. Howell's got some talent. His arm talent's better than Wentz, but he's got some issues as well, like processing skills, and he's not the tallest guy, but yeah, I'm excited to see what he can do in the future if he is the guy. Juan next, and then Abdul.
Yeah, I definitely agree. Like I said on the game on Sunday, I'm like, why are we why are we running so much? We have nothing to lose. Like, where was this last week versus the Browns? Why do you want to come out and just play your best ball and when you have nothing to play for? We should have did this last week when we actually had something to play for, right? I mean, and then what killed me was on 3rd and 3, you wanna run it and then punt it on 4th down. Like, you don't want to go for bro. Like, you have nothing to lose. Just let him pass as much as possible. See what he can do. He only threw it 19 times, and that was very frustrating because it's like, well, these guys are playing like we have something to play for. When you shouldn't. You should be truly, since they said they want to be evaluating some guys, they should have truly evaluated Sam Howell. They didn't do that, and that's just a testament of this coaching staff. Like, they're not good. Like, I don't know, bro. They don't think, I guess, right? But you just got Turner out of there, and now we're looking for new offensive coordinator. So, I mean, I'm happy about that. But I just feel like they mismanaged that game. I think honestly, he probably finishes for like 250 for like 3-4 touchdowns. Man, he was really good. He showed us some things that we didn't see all year. The arm strength was there, the accuracy. I mean, he hit Terry McLaurin, dropped the pass. It was so rare. Like, Terry barely drops passes, but he hit him in stride, and it was a great decision. It was a great ball, and then Terry dropped it. I mean, down the sideline to Terry, deep ball, right on the money. Like, Jahan Dawson getting him yak. Your yards out the catch. Like, he looked poised. He looked prepared. He looked like he belonged, man. And I understand that it was only one game. But it definitely got me excited, man. I was very frustrated that we didn't pass the ball more. Like, I don't know, man. These guys, they don't think, and how the hell are we supposed to evaluate Sam Howell with 19 passes? Like, that's all we have to look at for the next 8 months. 7 months is them 19 passes, opposed to possibly having 30. I would take 30 passes, like 30 passes to look at, but we only have 19 passes, bro. And man, it definitely sucks that we didn't get to see more out of him, but I'm definitely intrigued to see what he has.
Yeah, I mean, Juan pretty much says it all. Like, thank God it was Scott Turner's last game as offensive coordinator here. But I've seen Sam in college last year, and it's crazy the fact that like he was projected to be a top 5 pick in the draft, and he falls because he loses weapons. Offensive line's not that good. Still carries UNC his last year. So again, it's just the fact that like he's just a different type of 5th round pick, even when in that quarterback draft class where it isn't as strong. And it's just crazy. Like, it was his first NFL start against the Dallas Cowboys, and they were playing their starters. Like, that's an elite defense you're going up against as a rookie. And the fact that you still got an offensive line that's like makeshift, and guys were dropping balls like Jahan and Terry on a few plays, and the run game was inconsistent as well. And he's got legs, he's got the arm, he's built. Like, I legitimately don't think there's anything wrong with him, and I wouldn't be upset if they ride with him next year. But again, it just depends on, we need that offensive coordinator here to give him a decent game plan, not like a guy like Scott Turner who just doesn't want to utilize his arm strength when he clearly has it.
Yep, for sure. And again, appreciate that donation. Let's add some people in the chat real quick. And we got 95 people in here. Hit that like button. Subscribe if you guys are new. Subscribe to all of us. I'll put their links in again. What's up, Philip B? My guy, appreciate you coming through. Let's see. Tougher Guy. Gus Bus. Let's see. Giacalini. And we're also, I want to get into the offensive coordinator talk. I like the discussion about the D-line. We'll get back to that in a bit, but stream was about offensive coordinators, so we're going to get into that. What's up, Jay? And so, yeah, offensive coordinator, we know what happened. Scott Turner got fired. Very, very happy about that. And now it's time to move on to another guy. And there was news today that the Commanders tried to hire Jim Caldwell as their offensive coordinator, and you know what? He rejected it, saying like he's only looking for a head coaching job. But at least we were shooting high. At least it wasn't like, oh, the Commanders are trying to hire Ken Zampese. Like I rather it be like you shoot high, Eric Bieniemy. There was some rumors about that. I don't think Eric Bieniemy's coming here, but you might as well shoot your shot. Like I think you got to do that. See what you can do. Worst thing they can do is say no, and whatever. Maybe your feelings are hurt. That's fine. But and let's talk about, so those are kind of the rumors there. Let's talk about some of the head coaching candidates that they've been linked, or not head coaching, offensive coordinator candidates that they've been linked to. So Ken Zampese, obviously, there is some, Darren Haynes posted a report saying that they're not going to hire internally, but then I heard that same day Keim talk on his podcast that they're looking to keep the same scheme. So he said Ken Zampese would be an option. And then Nikki Jabala the other day said that he will be a candidate. So honestly, Ken Zampese is my least favorite option out of any of them. Like, just because he's an old guy, he's not that old, but he's not very innovative. And I think he was only an offensive coordinator for 2 games and he got fired. I think I saw something like that. And he doesn't have a lot of offensive coordinator experience. And there's another guy that's linked to them, Mike Shula. And the thing is, if I just looked at Mike Shula's credentials without seeing Carolina, I would really like to move, because I do like that, his record's good. He's helped develop Cam Newton and Josh Allen. To me, that's a pretty good resume. But he has that, Rivera tie, which is okay, we know why Rivera is doing it. I would be more mad about Rivera not being able to think outside the box versus the guy who he hired. So I think we hire Mike Shula, I'll be kind of happy about the guy we got, but frustrated about Ron Rivera's process, because it's bro, you don't always have to go with someone try to get someone else. But so Mike Shula is a guy that a lot of people have named. Frank Reich is, an option as well. That would be a high get, because he's interviewing for head coaching jobs, I believe, or at least one. He's an option. Brian Johnson, the Philadelphia Eagles coach, is an option. Some people have said Cliff Kingsbury. There's a bunch of options out there. Any other options that I'm missing? I know Todd something, the Rams offensive coordinator. You guys name some that I'm missing.
I heard Greg Roman, which is I don't want, but that's a name I heard.
Yeah, I saw that, but I think it was it wasn't necessarily a trusted source, but it was a rumor, and I wouldn't really want that, but it is what it is. I'm trying to think. There's definitely other names that I'm missing.
Someone said, honestly, guy, I'm not gonna lie to you. Greg Roman is a guy that I would not be surprised if we went after, because the way Ron Rivera talks, I don't want Greg Roman at all either, but the way he talks, he talks because he talks the way him and Martin, they talk like they want a guy that is a run first offensive coordinator. They want to play games and win games 17-15 and control the clock like it's 1986. No, we want a guy that's going to come in here and pass the ball and win through the air and put your quarterbacks in position to be successful, not just relying so much on Brian Robinson and Antonio Gibson. Obviously, I'm not saying don't ever run the ball. That's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is don't make – especially when you have a team like this. It'll be one thing if you were the Tennessee Titans and you had Derrick Henry. You didn't have any weapons, but you have Terry McLaurin, you have Jahan Dawson, you have Curtis Samuel. You didn't pay Terry McLaurin all this money to be a run-first team to not barely give him touches. That's why I don't understand this coaching staff. But Greg Roman, although I don't think it's true, I do think the Ravens may move on from him, but I don't think that source is true of us being wanting him. However, I wouldn't be surprised if we did, because that he fits exactly what we want to do. Someone said Tom Cable, or something like that from the Raiders, or former Raider, I guess. I don't know, guys. I have a bad feeling that we're gonna do something that's not gonna make us excited, honestly, because the way they speak, they're stuck in 1980, bro. They want to run the ball, and that's just not how you win in today's society, today's NFL. But that's not. I don't have any other names on it.
I mean, I low key dream was Sean McVay. I don't know why. I just like it would have been a dream, but like obviously what happened today. Saw the news.
Yeah, for me too. I was like Sean McVay, come
But
back
like
home.
the thing with Sean McVay is like there's literally a negative 100%. Like even if he wasn't like even if he retired or he like stepped away from the Rams, there would literally be like a negative whatever like there would be like 0% chance he would like be an OC. Like he would get any head coaching job he wanted. Like I bet you teams that were on the fence about firing their head coach if Sean McVay got just if he left the Rams, teams would hire him, or teams would fire guys just to hire him, or he would go to TV. He would not take an offensive coordinator job. But I did see some people say that. Yeah, I mean, we're gonna see. We're gonna find out soon. Another guy, Pat Shermer. I heard about that. I think Ron was interested in him in his first time looking for an offensive coordinator in Carolina, I believe. And then I think I saw a rumor that he was interested in him in last time when he with the Commander or the Redskins at that time. But I don't know. A lot of different names. I just want to see them like set a meeting with someone in the next few days, so that we can like just like get a candidate. And yeah, I agree, Philip. Like it would be nice to get a guy that has like not necessarily no experience, but a guy, or maybe no experience as an OC, like that would be fine. Like a young guy, maybe a guy that's been a quarterback's coach for a while, or something like that. Young guy, that would be nice. But it is what it is. Let's see. Big money, Sonny. Appreciate the $5 donation. Says we need someone to come in the mindset to sling that rock, like crack rock back in the '80s. Caldwell said, "Hell, not us." Yeah, I mean, Caldwell is a dream. He would have been. I mean, he's looking for a head coaching job, and I think he's gotten a couple interviews. Probably won't get hired, but maybe he could. But I think that, yeah, he didn't want to be an OC, and I think that's a lot of these guys. Like Frank Reich, maybe he'll be like, you know what, I don't want to be an OC. I'll wait for another year, but he might not get another head coaching opportunity. But I agree. Like I don't want to be running. Like if you look at it, I think I saw a stat 13 out of the 14 teams in the playoffs are top 16 in passing DVOA, which is like a passing metric, like in terms of like efficiency. And 13 out of the top 14 were top 16, showing like you kind of do have to pass the football. You kind of do have to pass the football. You have to, be successful in that. And then the Commanders are like, Ron Rivera is like, we're going to be a 2-to-1 ratio. Like, come on now, come on now. But yeah, I agree. I like running the football, but at the same time, you still have to sling that thing. I agree with you, Big Money Sonny. Appreciate that donation. Let's see. And this is a good point, Door Gunner. He says, hard to get an OC when they know Ron will be gone next year after the new owners come in. What do you guys think about that? I'll start with you, Abdul.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, like again, like I just feel like anyone that's related to Ron Rivera had done with him in the past is probably a prime candidate. But like again, like if you're a good OC, like why would you like you see your head coach and how incompetent like the front office can be and the decisions that they make, it doesn't really make any sense. So I feel like it will be Ken Zampese, or how you pronounce his name, because again, you just want to hire someone that they know rather than someone that could actually like further expand this offense.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I mean, for me, I definitely see where you guys are coming from with that point. But I definitely feel like the new regime, if we in fact get one, is gonna move in a way where they're going to have to bring in their own guys if we don't be successful. But it's like you're already going in with that mindset that you won't be back here. Why would Ron Rivera do that? That's just setting us up for failure. Go out there, swing for the fences, get a great offensive coordinator, and then try to make this your best season, because you're basically trying to impress the new regime. So why hamper your opportunity to do that by getting someone that's not going to be so good, and then you're just going to prove us, the fan base, right by wanting to get you fired, and you're going to make the new regime's job easier by getting you fired. However, if you go out there and then get a competent offensive coordinator, a good offensive coordinator, and then you go with 11-5, 12-4 next year, and then you win a playoff game under the new regime, you make it a no-brainer for the new regime to want to keep you on a new offensive coordinator. So I get where people are saying that. He may not. What offensive coordinator wants to come here if they're only gonna be here for 1 year? But Ron and the people that are picking this offensive coordinator, they should have the mindset that they're gonna be here for the future. Who wants who goes into the mind? Who goes into a new year? I understand you know the team may be for sale, but not. Who goes into the mindset already with that? Oh yeah, this is my last year coaching here. Nobody should go in with that mindset. You should go in with I'm gonna do whatever it takes to lead this team offensively and just in general to the next level. You shouldn't go in with the mindset that this is my last year here in Washington. You should go in with that I want to win. So you're gonna go out and get a guy that you feel is gonna put you in a position to where your offense is gonna go to the next level. So again, you can make the new regime want to keep you instead of going to get some Joe Schmo and he's trash, and then you make the regime's job easy by just firing you, right? So I definitely.
And the thing is, with Gunner, I kind of agree with Dor Gunner. Like, it might be hard to get a good OC when they, know that there's probably going to be a new regime the next year with new owners. But the thing is, if Rivera does a good job, and this offensive coordinator believes in Rivera and his own abilities, they can be retained. They're still going to be under contract, so there's still that possibility. And some other people brought up some other interesting points is that, okay, if we do hire an outside guy, everyone's going to be learning a new offense, which makes it harder for them because it does take a long time to learn offense. And that could hurt Sam Howell's development because he's had 3 new offenses in 3 years, which is a good point. So if you do that, maybe you incorporate some of the things you had in the other offense. Even if you have a new offense, have it maybe somewhat similar to the old offense where you have a lot of the plays that Sam Howell was comfortable with in his offense, at least keep it somewhat similar. So I think it is an interesting dilemma where it's okay, you do want to go, and it also depends, if you don't think Sam Howell's the guy, and I saw Gus Bus say it, and I saw Roger Smith agree. If you don't want Sam Howell as your quarterback, if you think, okay, he's a backup, that's fine, then it's a little bit different. If you bring in Jimmy G, then it's okay, whatever offensive system is fine. We don't need to keep our same one. But yeah, I think it's going to be an interesting situation. I could see Ron being okay, and I don't think this is what he should do, but he's okay, we need a win, so I'm going to go try to get Jimmy G, Ryan Tannehill, Derek Carr, and I don't think that's the move. I really don't think that's the move because we're going to see the same thing. Veteran comes in here, plays below expectations, has to learn a new offense, and it just doesn't work. Only thing, I don't really want Carr. I don't, unless I would take Carr if he gets cut. And I don't think he would necessarily choose us, but it also depends on the money. I'm still not paying Derek Carr $40 million, but if you got it around 30 or 25, 20 mil, which again, I think it's hard to see that happening. If we don't have to give up any assets at all, I wouldn't mind that. Still, there's probably better options, but that's definitely something to consider as well, is the veteran QB route, even though I don't really prefer it. What are your guys' thoughts on the veteran QB route?
Yeah. So I really just don't want to do that anymore. I was thinking about I wouldn't mind Carr if he gets cut or Tannehill or anything. I just really don't want to do that just because I'm intrigued by this Sam Howell thing. I think the best thing for this team to do especially since they want to go with this maybe Ron's last year with under the new regime. Just go for it all. Like, just see what Sam Howell has, because either two things are gonna happen. Sam Howell's gonna be really, really good, and he's the franchise quarterback, and we're in the playoffs, or he's gonna be really, really bad. We'll be in a position to draft another guy next year. You getting a veteran guy is gonna only put us in this hamster wheel that we're constantly in. It's only gonna put us 7-8, 7-9, 7-9, or 7-8-1, or 8-8-1. 7-9, 7-10 rather. It's going to put us in that cycle that we've been in since Jay Gruden. I mean, obviously that one year we were really, really bad, and we had the number 2 pick. And looking back on it, should have took Justin Herbert. But other than that, we're just going to be in this same hamster wheel if you go get Derek Carr. Because there's a reason why he hasn't done anything in Vegas outside of that one year. There's a reason why Ryan Tannehill hasn't took the Titans to. Well, he took them to the AFC. They made it to the AFC Championship one time, but needless to say, it's just going to be the same thing over and over again if we get a veteran guy. There's not a single veteran guy out there on the market this offseason that you look at and say, yeah, if he comes to Washington, he's going to put us over the top. I just don't see that. So I think the best thing for this team to do is to roll with Sam Howell next year, see what he can do. And if he's good, he's the franchise guy. If he's not, you're going to be in position to get a quarterback of the future.
Yeah, I 1,000% agree with Juan. It's just a cycle that us fans have to realize we have to escape. I mean, look at the past, man. You sign guys like Ryan Fitzpatrick, Case Keenum, just like other people's leftovers, man. Carson Wentz, we traded for him. Derek Carr. Again, like, I wouldn't hate it if we if we just got him out of free, like we just signed him. But if we traded for him, I would hate it, and I still hate it even if we think that he's going to be the savior for Washington, because it's a joke if we think like that as fans. We need to, especially as young fans, need to realize that we've been watching this circus show for too long. We need our guy. We don't want someone else's guy. So you stick with Sam, and if he's not good, we'll get a good draft pick. You're not in the middle, literally mid, like pick 16 this year. You get a top 5, top 10 pick and draft your guy. And if Sam's the guy, hey, Sam's your guy.
Yeah, and Philip B, man, really, really appreciate the $20 donation, man. Really appreciate that. Always supporting the channel. It says, I'm kind of done with the QB retreads. OC, I don't care if it's Ken Zampese. He made Baker look good. And yeah, I mean, I agree. It's like, I'm done with the QB retreads. Like Case Keenum, Alex Smith, you go Ryan Fitzpatrick, Carson Wentz. It's like, it's not going to work. It really isn't, unless you really get lucky. You really get lucky, okay. Maybe you find a Ryan Tannehill, and I'm talking about a Ryan Tannehill on a like super cheap contract, because the Titans had him on a super cheap contract the year they got him, and they got to the playoffs, I think, that first year. Like, that is how you win, with a rookie on it, or not a rookie, but a quarterback on a cheap deal. So that's the only way you get lucky and you get one of those guys. But I agree. And the thing is, I wouldn't be happy, but I'm okay if you hire Ken Zampese as an offensive coordinator, or Mike Shula, if the plan is Sam Howell is the guy next year. Because if Sam Howell is the guy next year, then Mike Shula probably is the guy to do it, because he's developed these QBs in the past, and you'll keep the same offensive system. You don't have to have him change it up. So, that in that case, I wouldn't really mind it. And of course, it's better than Scott Turner. There's not a lot of guys. Scott Turner needed to be gone, and I agree. I agree with all points. I really agree with all points. Done with the veteran QBs, and OC. Anyone's better than Turner. There are guys, of course, that I like better than like Ken Zampese and others, but I'll take Mike Shula or even Ken Zampese, I guess. But I know a lot of people will be upset if we hire Ken Zampese and Mike Shula, and if we barely go outside. Like, if we interview, let's say, like Mike Shula, Ken Zampese, and then our couple the Rooney Rule candidates, like, people are going to be very, very upset that they just basically wanted to keep Ron's guys that he knows. So yeah, it is what it is. Again, Philip, really appreciate the donation. Always supporting the channel for the last 2-3 years. So really appreciate that. Let's see, another huge donation, man. You guys are crazy. Let's see, Abdella, appreciate the $20 donation, man. Really appreciate that. Our issues weren't with the scheme. We got to remember that it was Scott play calling. We need a North Turner tree type OC and solidify our offense. Cars under the West Coast system, not a advisable one situation all over again. And that is the thing that I did see someone say that Carr's worst years every year was the year after he got a new offense. And Derek Carr had a really good year in really solid year in 2021. 2022, though, not very good. What happened? He got a totally new offense. And it takes time to learn that. But of course, if he comes here, it's a new offense. Unless he brings Josh McDaniels back here. And if he doesn't get fired from the Raiders, which at this point I don't think it'll happen, he'll be going back to Foxborough. And I agree with you. Like the scheme, it's complicated, but Scott probably made it more complicated than it was. Also, you had kind of like a difference of philosophy between the two guys, Scott and Rivera. Scott kind of wanted to pass a little bit more, and Rivera was more of a run guy. Like Scott wanted to do a drop back passing, empty set the whole time. Rivera wanted to do the opposite. And yes, I agree. Like Scott could design some plays, but his play calling, his situational play calling was not good. And sometimes the personnel he used wasn't great. But the bigger issue was the situational play calling. Like, for example, the Giants game where B-Rob's averaging 7.3 yards a carry. You don't give him the ball, and you give it to Curtis Samuel, who was averaging 0 yards per carry at that point. B-Rob gets a big run. I think this is in the Giants game. It's 2nd and 3, and you do a flicker pass, and then it doesn't work, and then you don't get the next play either, and it goes to 4th down. A lot of that stuff. So I kind of agree. So I think the option is you keep Sam Howell and you have Heineke come back and battle those, have those guys battle out. And Sam Howell, if he is the guy, he should beat out Heineke. Like if he doesn't beat out Heineke, he's not the guy. Or if at least he doesn't make it competitive. And you either do that or draft a rookie, in my opinion. Maybe move up and get a rookie. Really appreciate that donation, Abdella. Helps out a ton. But that's kind of agreeing with it what you guys said about just a different point that they made is that they got to learn a new system, and a lot of these quarterbacks, it doesn't really work for them. Like Derek Carr, he hasn't done it in the past. We saw Ryan Fitzpatrick, a vet, learns a bunch of different offenses and couldn't learn this one. Carson Wentz, same thing. So yeah, I mean, I think the option is honestly what I would do: keep Howell and bring back Heineke for cheap or another veteran, or you draft the rookie. Your thoughts, guys? We'll start with Juan.
Yeah, my thoughts is similar. I want to see Sam Howell get the starting job, okay? I feel like it's the best thing that we have. I feel like Ron Rivera put ourselves in a predicament to where that's the only thing we can look forward to. Because like I stated before, it's just going to be the same thing over and over again, right? Again, going back, I feel like Ron kind of did this rebuild wrong because going into 2020, when he was hired, Dwayne Haskins was here, okay, obviously. So I can't be too mad that he didn't pick Justin Herbert. However, you gotta know that you gotta know that if you want to change the culture and you want to bring in your own guys, you got a prime opportunity to get your guy. I don't think he ever fully thought Dwayne Haskins was the guy. I just felt like he wanted to give him a chance. And he was even skeptical on doing that. But the reason I bring that up is because you've seen guys in the past, especially in Arizona, where they draft Josh Rosen and then Cliff Kingsbury come in and then he gets Kyler Murray. So it's not like it was impossible to happen. But I mean, I can't kill him too much for not getting Justin Herbert. However, in 2021, you could have traded up to get Mac Jones or something like that, or made a move to get a quarterback. You didn't do that. You take James Davis, and then in 2022, I like Jahan Dotson a lot. For sure now. Wasn't too fond of the pick at the moment, but I like him. Now. But you had an opportunity to get Kenny Pickett. So you had three drafts, or really two, maybe, if you don't want to count the 2020 draft. You had multiple drafts to really get your guy, and you didn't do that, and now you're sitting in year 4 still basically, in year one because you don't have your quarterback. Yes, I kind of feel like he did the rebuild wrong, and I feel like Sam Howell is the only way that we have for a possible franchise quarterback. Because if it's not gonna be Sam Howell, it's gonna be the same veteran stuff all over again. So I'm thinking we go ahead and let's see what Sam Howell has. Let him be QB1, or at least battle out with Taylor Heineke if we bring him back, and then let them be the two quarterbacks, and then you either draft a late round guy or sign a veteran to be the third string or something like that. But the only hope we really have is that Sam Howell is the future, and I hope they see it that way too.
Yeah, man. Again, I want to spin it, man. I completely agree with it. It's just like it's hard for us fans to think about. Yeah, let's get another veteran. Sam is the truth, man, and like we have to stick with him. And if they somehow think that Derek Carr or Ryan Tannehill is gonna there's just no way we repeat like the same mistakes we've made in the past for so long. It's completely frustrating. And again, hopefully the new ownership will realize that too. But yes, you stick with Sam. Promote Ken Zampese. So what? Obviously, I mean, CJ Stroud, he still hasn't committed for the draft yet. It's like 3 days. So again, that could affect stuff. And I don't really like any of the QB prospects aside from Richardson, but under like this system, I don't think he'll excel. We won't be able to develop him. So you stick with Sam Howell, let him play out the whole year. Hopefully, he's the only QB to play every Sunday next year. And then if he's bad, again, you get a good draft pick. You don't have a mid-round pick. And if he's good, then hey, we got a steal in the 5th round. So it really isn't that complicated. But again, this organization, this front office, this coaching staff finds a way to make it more complicated than it is.
Yep, agree. And I was seeing some people talking about corners in the draft. Christian Gonzalez out of Oregon is he's a beast. I would love him. But honestly, like the corner situation kind of seemed dire in the beginning of the year, but it got better as it's still a need definitely in terms of depth. But like I don't know, like you could draft a corner because you can never have enough elite corners. But like if they didn't draft one in the 1st round or 2nd round, it wouldn't be the end of the world. Like Benjamin St. Juste, the thing with him is health. That's why you need a good guy in depth. Kendall Fuller is good enough in my opinion. Like he's had some bad games, but for the most part, he's been solid. And then Bob McCain's all right in the slot. Abdullah, another $5 donation. He says, let's see, Logan Paulson mentioned that there are very few North Turner system coaches. One of them is Mike Shula, so we were screwed. I mean, yeah, there's not that many, and if they do decide to go with a similar scheme, it'll be Shula or it'll be Ken Zampese, and there's probably a couple guys out there, maybe someone like Pat Shurmur, where they ran a similar offense, or not necessarily similar offense, but Ron was interested in him before, so maybe that's because he would run an offense that Ron likes. That's definitely something to consider. I don't hate Shula, but definitely not the biggest fan of him. And then Abdullah said, Juan, if that's the case, are you willing to go through a learning curve again and be crap on offense? Juan, your thoughts?
Yeah, I mean, it's not a guarantee that that new offensive coordinator that we get. It's not a guarantee that we go through a learning curve and be crap on offense. We don't know how fast Sam Howell can pick up a playbook. Obviously it's going to take some time, but you can't just go in with the mindset that they just not going to pick it up. I'm definitely willing to go through. I guess what is he asking? He's like, am I willing to go through a learning curve with Sam Howell or like get another guy? I don't understand the question, because obviously we're getting a new offensive coordinator, so we're gonna have to learn something new, whether we get Sam Howell or a veteran quarterback.
I think he's talking about like learning curve with Sam Howell. I think.
Oh, then in that case, yes, I am. I'm definitely willing, because again, if you get a veteran guy, he's still gonna have to learn this new offense. Okay, so I'm definitely willing to go through a learning curve with the young guy, because again, like I said, either he's gonna be really good and he's the franchise, or he's gonna be really bad and we're gonna be in position to draft a guy. But if you don't do that and you draft and you go out and get another guy like a Jacoby Brissett or something like that, you're going to be 7 and 8 again. You're going to be picking 11 through 16 again, and nobody wants to continue to do that. We've been the same since Jay Gruden,
Yep.
So nobody wants to continue to do that. So to answer your question, yes, I'm definitely willing to go through a learning curve with Sam Howell if that's what it takes to see if we're going to be good or not.
Yeah, I mean, I would say like I just all I'm begging is if Sam Howell starts, don't win 7 games, man. Like whatever you do, make the playoffs or win 5 or less games. That's what I want. But knowing us, I think the team is good enough to where it can kind of carry Howell. I mean, we won games with Heineke as a starter, and even a couple with Wentz. So yeah, let's see. Philip B. Man, really, really appreciate it. Another $10 donation. Says just a fantasy OC pick for me is Chris Cooley. He played with Sean McVay, is well respected in our fan base. I mean, dude, I would love Chris Cooley. I mean, I love listening to him, but yeah, it's not gonna happen. But it is a fantasy pick. I mean, he played under Sean McVay, Kyle Shanahan, and Arthur Smith, Mike McDaniel, LaFleur, all of those guys. And yeah, I mean, I like Cooley. I think he was trying to get a coaching job before, and he just couldn't get anything more than like something very like small. And he was like, at that point, it's not worth it because it's going to be so much of a grind, and I have kids that he didn't want to do that. But I'm pretty sure at least last year he was coaching high school football, offensive coordinator, or something like that. So I would like it. I always love listening to Chris Cooley do the film breakdowns and everything. He was bashing Scott Turner early on in this year. Love that. And yeah, it would be nice to see Chris Cooley there. Don't think he'll be there though under Dan, because I think right now they're kind of beefing. But who isn't? Who isn't beefing with Dan Snyder now? But man, really, okay, we got one more donation, and then I'm gonna call it a day. Got to get somewhere in a little bit. Guys, this is a huge, huge stream. Appreciate all you guys. Appreciate Juan and Abdullah coming on. Of course, make sure you guys have subscribed to them. Links in the chat again. DMV Sports Zone and Juan Gotti talking sports. You all see the quote where Rivera said we may have the guy and Sam will see. He said, I think we may actually give him a fair shot. And the thing is, I did see that, and I watched that press conference. That was tough to watch. Those 29 minutes of just boring answers from the two of them when the reporters, some of them were actually asking good questions, but I did see that. I think Ron does like Hal and likes the person. It seems like Hal is very like locked in, and also seems pretty respected from his teammates. Like seems like he's chill, but he's also a little bit fun sometimes as well. And I think he thinks that Hal can be an option. Of course, he wants to do better. He wants to try to do better, but I think he knows that if all else fails, he has a guy that potentially could be a average, below average starter. But guys, if we get an average, below average starter, first of all, that's better than anything we've had in a long time. Second of all, we that on a 5th-round rookie contract, you can win with that. You can win with that because that's like 800K or whatever, and you can spend the rest on other players. So guys, appreciate all of you guys for coming on or for coming through the stream, and appreciate Juan and Abdullah for coming on the channel. Make sure you guys sub up their channels again. Links in the description to both their channels. And yeah, man, appreciate you guys coming on. This is a great stream. Appreciate you, DeAndre, Philip B, Abdel, all for all those donations, man. That like helps out a ton. Big Money Sunny, or Big Sunny Money, whatever. I forgot the name, but appreciate that as well. All you guys and everyone who came in the chat, man. I appreciate the support as well. Enjoy the playoff football tomorrow. After the playoff or football season's over, I always miss it. This is the best time of the year. Unfortunately, we're not in it, but got 2 games tomorrow, 3 on Sunday, 1 on Monday. Super, super excited. Thanks for coming on, guys. Hope you guys enjoyed it. And yeah, we got another donation, man. That's a buzzer beater, and then we're gonna call it
Pedro, man.
Della, Juan, I met a new learning curve with a new scheme. So Juan, you want to answer that real quick?
Oh yeah, I mean, I guess I kind of figured out what you meant. Yeah, I mean, it is what it is. It's gonna come regardless. It's gonna be there regardless whether you're a veteran or a rookie. You're gonna have learning curves, right? It's gonna take time. So yes, I'm definitely down for that. I don't want nothing to do with Scott Turner, right? So whoever you hire, it's gonna be a learning curve. So, I'm definitely.
Yeah, and there's going to be a learning curve with a new scheme, of course, and that could hurt Howell. But at the same time, if he's the guy, he'll be able to adjust. Again, guys, amazing stream. Super grateful for all you guys coming in here, supporting the channel, commenting, liking, everything. And yeah, video will be out tomorrow. Probably have a salary cap video tomorrow. Hope you guys are having a great Friday and have a good weekend. Peace, guys.
Peace, yo.
See you.